Good evening, everybody, and welcome to MindMesh. This is a podcast all about exploring those rabbit holes, exploring those weird internet voids that you find, those shower thoughts, if you will, the ones that make no sense once you come back to them. That's the general gist of the podcast.
Yeah.
I know I do this intro every single time because that's the weird thing about...
You gotta have some sort of intro.
Yeah, no, the weird thing about doing a podcast, especially one that has like a musical intro, is that I feel like every single time you come into it, you need to have a similar introduction.
I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like you could just go into it, just start talking, or at least like...
Well, that's... see, that if it's a very well-known, like super popular podcast, I feel like you could do that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with something small and like compact and like kind of niche that we're doing, I feel like if someone could literally click on any random episode and be like, what's this about?
Okay, fair.
So it's like, it's kind of difference between like
Fair.
what we do and what Joe Rogan does, because Joe Rogan does like an interview podcast.
I was also thinking of like, what's their faces? Super Mega.
Yeah, but
Again, they're also bigger.
yeah, they're bigger, and it's also one of those things where they don't have to explain what their podcast is, because I don't think there's an explanation.
It's just
Because they literally pull fucking names out of a goddamn hat, and that's their podcast.
Yeah.
At least we want to stick to the random side of it. Whereas they're like, oh, one episode might be their life stories, and yeah, they're random, but it's like sometimes it's just like in-depth discussions about stuff, and then other things are just like, okay, let's throw shit at the wall and
No,
see
I
what
get
sticks. And our
I
podcast
get
is
you.
all, let's throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And speaking of that, my name's Chayton.
And I'm Fish,
And we have a very special guest on the show. We're not going to say his name because welcome to our favorite Mind Mess session. Who is this?
So?
God.
All right. So, boys and girls, you have to guess who this is based on our description.
Oh,
Fish,
fuck.
would you like to start?
Yes. He looks. Oh wait, help me.
If you
I
say
forget.
generic, I'm gonna punch you.
I was
Okay.
gonna say
He's very similar to Goku from Dragon Ball Evolution.
I
He's got-
disagree.
He's got
okay.
got the pointy jaw. He's got the spiky hair. The only difference is that he's slightly tanner
and wears glasses.
and wears glasses.
What I was
Um,
gonna say is he's just Little Mac with glasses.
Oh,
He's Little
no.
Mac with glasses. He's pretty broad shouldered. He's got a little buff. He's a little shorter than the average bear, but I think that actually adds to his appeal.
I do.
Interesting.
He's a
That's the nicest thing Chayton has ever said.
he's a
about me.
he's a Harbro gummy bear. That's what I'm trying to say.
no! And then he turns it.
So everyone, studio audience, if you would please clap for me as we welcome Nico onto the MindMesh podcast. Yeah,
Are you gonna add that in? Or
we're clapping.
We're-
No,
you're gonna
it's
add
just
that in?
we're
Okay.
clapping
Just
ourselves.
clapping? Okay.
Nico, welcome to the MindMesh podcast. Please introduce yourself, brand yourself. actually.
Hi, I am Nico Oberly.
Anyways, let's get on to the topic at hand. No,
Okay.
I'm kidding. Go into it, please.
I mean, what do you want me
We're
to say?
talking about cults, right?
Oh my God, Jesus Christ! Yes, we're talking about cults, but then let Nico speak for a second.
I'm
I
a
know.
director colorist who's starting a D&D podcast called Vitamin D&D on Spotify, and that's it.
just on Spotify?
I mean, it's on Spotify, Anchor, and all other podcast platforms, just like you guys.
Hopefully, by this point, it actually is.
I
Because
really fucking hope it is, but I
because
don't
if
even
it's
know.
not-
this is technically
Be
going to be
on the lookout.
Dude,
Yeah, no,
I'm taking a fucking dive because we have the account, so it's not like anybody can take it. But
But have you been approved for all the sites yet?
we have.
Okay,
You're
we've been
just
cool.
approved.
waiting for
Because I was
just waiting to
I was
record at
about to
this
say,
point.
technically, when we're
Right.
recording this, it we're on the week.
I know.
So the following Monday, this will be released.
Well, it depends on if we, get that apartment or not.
Rest in peace. But anyways, welcome Nico to the podcast. Our favorite DNA replicant.
Oh,
But anyways, let's start this little podcast off with a bang. Fish, tell us
Yeah.
about some cults.
Okay,
yikes.
so
See, you say yikes. I feel like we've talked about some really darker shit on this podcast.
No,
One
no,
of
no.
my
You
cults.
guys definitely have.
one of my favorite documentary series, really ever, but it's on Netflix. It's called Wild Wild Country,
Mhm.
and it's about this cult
Is that a series or just a singular movie?
I think it's
No,
a singular movie.
it's like 8 episodes.
Is it
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. I had a weird like vision in the back of my mind that was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure that's not like a documentary. It's a docu-series.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's this 8-episode docu-series about this cult who originated from India. It's this rich Indian guy who he kind of I can't remember like the beliefs he mixes, but it's like Eastern stuff, or like Buddhism, but like without like taking away the riches, because he like really likes like Rolls Royces and like Rolexes and shit like that.
As a standard priest in American society does.
Mega church.
But he got kicked out of India.
Oh, really? I did not know
Yes.
that.
So he went.
I did not realize this cult was led by Indian beliefs. Actually,
Yeah.
now that I think about it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's pretty Buddhist, isn't it?
It's like I said, it's kind of Buddhist with some like other beliefs mixed in with it.
Because like you and Morgan watched
And-
this, right?
Yeah, and then I think Cole's also watched it,
Well,
and
then
like
that's the no-brainer.
but either way, after they got kicked out, they went and bought this like giant piece of land next to this small town, and like I can't remember. It was some rural state.
Yeah, I was about to say, from what I've seen of the
Montana-
documentary itself, I know that it's some like weird, like Montana, Wyoming type area where it's like a bunch of mountains surrounding a little like valley area.
Exactly, and
That typical valley folk-esque town.
they
Don't
build
say
an
valley folk.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
essentially though they built this giant commune, and then when the townspeople got upset about the commune, they just moved into the town and then started like slowly taking over the
It's
city
like that
council.
one episode of Family Guy where Peter Griffin decides to make his house a state.
Oh yeah,
Or his own
he
country?
makes his own
Yeah, his
house
own
a
country.
country.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's-
Utopia.
because isn't that
yeah.
like a thing? They like
Petopia,
made
yeah.
they made their own town.
They essentially took over the
It's actually really easy.
Yeah, no, there's like a place in the United States called Hell, and like they make a random person the mayor every single month
No,
or whatever.
where I grew up has less than 600 people as a population. It's a subdivision, but it's its own city.
like you
this
can
guy grew up in the cult. Not gonna say,
Little
not gonna
bit.
point names,
A little
but
bit.
like they said something like if you had at least like 100 people, you can declare yourself as a town or something like that. And but they took over the city council, and then like they went to other towns and like poisoned the restaurants so the city councilman will get sick.
That's fucking war. Like, what the hell?
no, that's just
You
good.
can't poison the mayor.
That's just good times.
Oh my god.
So literally they just took over this town, and eventually they got kicked out and shit. But yeah, no, it was like it's crazy.
Cult, for me, like it's kind of weird because growing up watching movies and stuff like that, you've always been taught that cults are like this giant, omnipotent, like kind of group in the background that's
Mhm.
like.
Kind
I mean,
I
the
guess you're
the
thinking
most,
like Illuminati type of shit.
well, no, Illuminati Anonymous. That's
Yeah.
kind of a cultist like group. But for me, growing up watching movies, what I always compared cults to was actually like the depiction of Satanists. But in movies, the depiction of Satanists is like so far like
It's so over
left field.
Yeah.
It's like they're over there sacrificing goats and shit like that,
Well-
and hanging them on a spike and then burning them on the cross and stuff like that.
Well, do you guys not actually know what the meaning of a cult is?
Well, I mean, yeah.
It's basically every religion you've ever seen.
Yeah,
Exactly.
No, so it's one of those things where it's like because you think about religion in films and you think about cults in films, and it's always that like positive versus negative side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the religion's
Definitely.
always the religion's always posed as such a negative force in the world. It's always like the good in the world. And I mean that's why we have so many like Christian movies and stuff like that coming out in American theaters. But like whenever they depict a cult, it's always in horror films.
Especially in Nashville.
Yeah, it's always in horror films. It's always in psychological thrillers. It's always in the films that are meant to scare you.
Yeah.
That's
And if they're not-
always what a cult is.
And if they're
Mhm.
not, they're either parodied that way.
Yeah, no.
Oh, for sure.
So
For
it's
sure.
like a cult could literally be something as simple as like, as you said, religion could be determined as a cult. It could literally be agnostic, someone who does not believe in religion, but still believes that there is like a 1% chance that there could be a higher being, but it has to be proven to them that it's a thing. That could be considered a cult.
Literally,
They had
me.
like a group of
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where like literally
Yeah.
they
It's
mean,
essentially like a group of people under the same beliefs.
yeah, no.
To
Which,
be
I mean,
fair, I've never met another agnostic.
well,
So-
I think you're in a room of them.
Yeah.
Are you guys all agnostic?
I'm
I
pretty
thought
sure.
you were atheist.
No, I'm
No, I'm
agnostic.
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
okay.
our entire friend group is agnostic.
We've never
pretty
really
sure-
actually talked about religion as a whole, though.
Or at least what we believe specifically.
Yeah, we've never really done that.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure our entire friend group is pretty much agnostic.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense why we're all friends, honestly.
no,
That makes total sense.
Because like for me, it's like every single religion is a cult in some form or
Yeah.
fashion. The problem is that, well, it's not really a problem per se. It's just in general when like those things are like if agnostics were ever depicted in a movie,
Mhm.
Yeah.
they would be depicted as Satanists.
Oh, 100%. They would be depicted as atheists, bad people, Satanists. Like, not believing in God has always been portrayed as a bad thing in films.
Yeah, no. So
or at
it's
least
like,
just in media in general.
Well, yeah, especially in media. Because, well, don't you understand that, like, every president we've ever had is, like, ran on a religious campaign?
It's crazy because let me see the actual like Christian population, not to like just shit on Christianity, but it's actually dwindling. But it's
Mhm.
crazy to see that in media, for some reason, there's still this big stigma about it.
Well, it's because
Well,
they
I
don't
mean-
actually check facts.
well, it's partially. I guess it's partially that. I mean, that's also kind of like the belief system. Like facts are almost like a construct in itself because yes, there are scientific things that can be proven,
Yeah.
but it's also like based on the beliefs that you were raised in. Like it literally, it cannot make sense for certain people.
Yeah, no, I was raised Catholic.
So it's one of those things like until your belief system is changed, like it makes a whole lot of sense that certain people just can't understand the thought process of others.
I
Which
was wrong. It's 65, but that's still like pretty-
65%.
It's still
Yeah.
lower than it was.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But like for me, it's one of those things where like when it comes to that topic, I feel like a lot of the issues when it comes to like interpersonal like communication when it comes to that stuff. I mean, just to throw out some really big names here.
Yeah.
So like flat earthers,
Ugh.
climate changers,
Fuck.
just in general, those big political like darts at the dartboard. Like there are I think climate change is more like a 50-50 split, and then like flat earthers is like a 5 to 95 split.
Yeah.
for
But
sure.
but it's one of those things where like if you are raised in that sensibility, and or if you are if something in life proves to you that one side of those sensibilities is correct, you're instantly part of that cult mentality. You're
You're in the group.
you're in the group.
You're definitely in the group.
You have joined this mentality that has almost. Well, I mean, I'm gonna
Would
use
you-
I'm gonna use the term brainwash, but it's also like every belief could be determined as brainwashed from the other person's perspective.
Well,
Would you say
yeah.
that like furries are a cult?
Well, I mean, that goes back to our toxic fan bases
it really
episode
depends.
because it's like you could also say, oh, is Rick and Morty fans a cult?
yes,
Well, I was gonna say, is any-
100% they
but-
are.
But is any fandom really a cult?
They
Because how
worship.
much? Well, how much?
Yeah, but do they fit the 7 steps of being a cult that I stated before the podcast
oof.
started?
I don't know if they fit the 7 steps, so they're probably hitting at
and
least
that-
5.
But that's my thing is that especially when it comes to like is a fan base a cult? I don't think so because they don't follow a belief structure that fits said fan base.
But that's not what makes a cult.
Yeah, it is.
No, a cult is a group of people that believe in the same thing.
That go against biblical prophecies.
No.
That's
That's not. According to world religions,
do you want me to read the 7 steps again or
you can, but I took
I
a
mean-
world religions class, and it is literally a group of people who believe the same thing. That's all a cult is.
And I mean, also,
according to a Lutheran pastor who has a master's in religion.
and also,
See, but that makes no sense because literally then any denomination of like any. See, I don't know
but
because
I mean, just think of the shit
because
they do in church. That's pretty culty, though.
It
But
is.
then-
No, I'm saying
No,
all
I get
religions are
that, but I'm
cult.
trying to say like, okay, I'm a fan of Naruto. Does that mean I'm a cultist
No,
for Naruto?
It's how you, as a person, take in the thing that
Well,
you're.
you
But
as a
that's going to
but-
the extremes of the
but you
fan
as a-
base. Like,
but
not
you
everyone
as a
that's a
person
fan
can't
of.
be a cult, though. That's just being an extreme fan.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. But it
Okay.
doesn't take that much to become part of a cult, and I'm using that in air quotes for everybody on this podcast.
Listening,
Because-
yeah.
It's not a cut and dry thing.
No, I get you. It's loose.
It's very loose. A cult is literally just believing in something enough to join a group of people within it. That's all it is.
So that would make every fan base a cult.
Basically, yeah.
See, but I don't. In my mentality, I don't think that's what a cult is.
But that's how it's defined. That's how it's defined in world
Here,
religions
wait,
classes.
I'll be the median right here. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Yeah, because I'm thinking in my head like, oh, a fan of like Courage the Cowardly Dog. Like for me, that's not a cult because that doesn't change the mentality of
Okay,
the
you
person.
You can be a fan of something, but if you actively join a group that like converses and talks about something or critiques it or whatever, if you're actively within a group, you're technically a cult.
So that would mean like anyone that attends like
Here.
a Comic-Con would be a cult.
Oh yeah.
In the
That's
social,
what's
See,
fucked
that
about.
literally takes away
Here-
all the meaning to the
Here,
word
guys,
to me.
guys, in the sociological classifications of religious movements, a cult is a social group with socially deviant or novel beliefs and practices. Although this is often unclear, other researchers present a less organized pictures of cults, saying that they arise spontaneous around novel beliefs and practices. So it's you both.
Yeah,
so we're
so-
technically both right.
Literally, is exactly what you're saying.
I mean, I
It's
guess
just, it's a difference of opinions because in reality, it's either way, it's a group of people doing something. Either they
under the same beliefs, like coordinating
yeah,
something.
they believe something specific, which is more your
And I
era
guess you're
and
saying
your
like
thing.
because like there are things normalized such as religion and stuff like that. A cult
for-
is something more deviated.
Hey,
Well, yeah, my whole thing is that like I feel like if you're part of a cult, it changes your life in a sense. Like it alternates how you think of the world.
no, that's
But like if you're a fan of like Rick and Morty, as soon as you're outside of Rick and Morty and you're not watching Rick and Morty anymore, you're not thinking about interdimensional space travel with a grown man and a kid.
well, that's
I mean, some fans.
Yeah, but that's like the
That's
far
the
that's
extreme.
the
That-
far
yeah.
extreme that's like 2 or 3 people.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
though,
like
is the extremists that are devoting themselves in some way to a group are the people we're talking about.
see that that's not who I'm talking about.
But what you're talking about is the media's depiction of a cult.
See, the media's depiction I've always seen a cult is literally like the giant groups that literally like
Mm-hmm.
But also like
But a
you could.
cult, as a definition,
But
does
would you-
not fall in within that.
But would you
That
count
is
like a
what they
frat as a
call
cult?
them.
no, I would not count a
I
frat as a
would,
cult.
because they
I
are.
would. I would completely
They
count a
are.
frat or a sorority as a cult.
They have a group belief.
They have a
That's
group. they have
all
a
that
group.
defines a cult.
And also, fraternities do change your life. Once you're in a
Once you're in a
sorority,
frat, you're in a frat for life.
unless you choose to quit. But like,
Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. Just
And
hearing
then they
that
have the
definition
whole-
and then hearing what we're discussing, like the definition and what we're discussing does not correlate in my brain because
and they also have
Right.
all
like
the
it's still not one.
initiation shit
Like
that.
one side does not
No,
equal the other
it
side.
did not equal for me either until I took that world religions class. And he defined it himself because his name was Dr. Rose. I'll go
Yeah.
on and say that. He's Jefferson College in Missouri. He's an amazing teacher. He actually married my brother and sister. Fun fact. My brother-in-law, technically. But he is a Lutheran pastor who literally went through the trouble of trashing his own religion and every single other one because it's all kind of crap. It's all a belief, and that's all it is. So a cult is literally a belief in something specific that a group of people join in to believe in. And that's it.
See, the only thing that like makes that definition not make sense in my mind is that would literally mean that I'm part of like 50 cults. And like just that definition of like it's so broad that like literally if you're
I can agree with where you're saying that like fan bases can like that's a stretch, but that's us also pushing it to the extreme.
Yeah,
of saying,
fan bases can be a stretch, but technically they are a cult.
And also like
as it is actually defined.
Well, based off the definition that he defined, I don't think so.
Well, it's a group of people that have a united belief.
The first half of the definition goes with what you're saying. But the second half
goes with what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Kind of, but
that's the thing.
But they literally said like some people define it as a broad depiction rather than the definition.
It's because the media has saturated that word.
Yeah, but then that goes into like what's the actual definition versus the saturation broad appeal.
That is the actual definition. That's why it is so broad. That's why it fits so many different things. It's because the definition of it is not clear.
Well, the definition was clear, and then it had to become broad because everyone treated it as broad. That's really what I heard from that definition. Because it was depicted as broad, it became broad.
I don't think that's true. I think the media caused it to be broad.
Which is someone depicting it as broad, making it broad.
But I think specifically it's the media, because the media uses that word as a negative. They use that word as a depiction of bad. Because there has been bad groups of people that have...
Well, I mean, yeah, like technically, if you want, like the Ted Bundy murders and the Manson murders, that could technically be considered a cult because certain people followed those people.
I guess Ted Bundy technically can be, because there was a lot of people
that fan base.
Yeah, they were obsessed with him. So I guess that does fit.
They literally had a fan base.
That does fit.
But that's such an extreme.
Whereas the Manson fits it better because he actually had a following.
Well, I mean, so did Ted Bundy technically.
So did Jesus.
That's why I'm not saying that religion is not a cult.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's so broad, and that's why they don't want to define it, because there are certain groups that they
see. But that's not broad to me. That's so cut and dry.
I can see what you're saying, but that's
because that's such a defined case.
No,
that's such an extreme case.
No, I get it. But that's how we have to think about it, because it is so broad. You have to think in extremes to understand it. Because, like...
I guess, but that's still the opposite of what you were saying about fan bases.
Not really, because...
But that's not extremes. That's
really?
Yeah, because I'm a fan of Ben 10, I'm in a cult?
No. I'm saying extremist groups like the Rick and Morty fan base who go out of their way to do things and preach about Rick and Morty are a cult.
But that's still the extreme side.
That's what I'm saying.
Not saying that the generalized fan base is a cult, but the extreme
I've never
side.
said that the generalized group is. You can be a fan of something and not be within the cult.
If we're going back to religion, though, there you have your people that are casual Christians, and then you have your extremist Christians as well. So, like, if you're going to count like something like Christianity as a cult, same thing applies.
Yeah, but I mean, that's also the same as like comparing like moderate left to left.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
I mean, I get that, but like comparing religion, my whole thing is like comparing a religion to a fan base isn't like equal to me.
It's hard to understand. It really is, and it's muddy. It's muddy no matter what.
I think it's muddy literally because
I think
the definition has become so broad that literally the definition has a literal statement at the end that says, oh, it's become broad.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the whole point.
Yeah, I know. You guys say exactly, but for me, I'm literally going off of the definition and not the fucking article section 1.2a that says at the bottom, oh, it's become broad because people think it's broad.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that because of the definition, everything's a cult.
It was still all the same paragraph.
I know, but what I'm saying is that a definition's not a paragraph.
Literally, we're arguing about the exact same thing, just in different words. Because it is so broad, like you're saying, that it fits everything, which is what I'm saying. But you're trying to define it a little bit more, which it also fits within.
Yeah.
So it fits everything. And that's the problem. So literally, if you're a fan of Naruto and you go out of your way to post memes and talk about things and you go into discussions and you believe wholeheartedly that chakra is real, you're in a cult.
I guess what we're trying to say is everyone is a religion. Pastafarianism unite.
Dude,
we'll see you after this ad break.
Absolutely is a religion.
Look, Fish, I need to know something.
I need to know. Have you
What?
heard?
Yeah,
You have?
I
Are you
maybe.
sure?
Possibly. You can tell me though.
Have you heard of Anchor?
Like the thing that's on like boats.
No. Anchor. It's the easiest way to make a podcast. I'll let you explain. You said you knew about it.
Oh yeah. I remember now.
Okay.
It's free.
It's free?
Yeah, there's
Like
free-
absolutely free, no charge.
no charge.
Uh-huh.
There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer
Wait, phone? You can just pull out your phone
and edit your podcast right from it and
That's
record it.
wild. That's absolutely wild. What else does it do?
Well, you can distribute your podcast, or Anchor will distribute your podcast for you.
Where?
So it can be heard on Spotify,
Spotify?
Apple Podcasts,
Apple Podcasts?
and anywhere else. Many more.
Wait, so like Google Podcasts and all of those, you can hear it using
yeah.
Anchor? Oh my, really? What else do they do?
You can make money from your own podcast with no minimum listenership.
No minimum listenership? Are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
man.
You can just make money from making a podcast? I
Yeah,
didn't know
man.
you could do that.
It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
Wait, so you're telling me that if our listeners want to make a podcast, all they have to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm and get started and make their own podcast?
Yes, that's all they have to do is
That's all they have to
download
do?
the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
That's absolutely wild. What a great steal.
What a great steal.
I hope you all enjoyed that ad break. I know it's like almost 6 months old at this point, but
Wait, was the ad for Anchor?
Yeah.
Nice.
yeah. Did you not hear it? Or me and Fish perform it live every single time we record.
Yeah,
Right.
we've remembered it.
Sorry, you guys
yeah.
totally perform it live.
We haven't switched microphones like 3 times since then.
No.
But anyways, welcome back to the second half of the MindMesh podcast. I know the first half was really exhilarating. It was really in depth. It was really nice, concise
And what
discussion.
that means, it was all over the place.
It's all over the
No,
place.
I think we actually stuck to a singular thread pretty well.
We
We
stuck
did.
to a singular thread, but it was fucking insane. Like
No,
we're good.
The thing is that a lot of times when we talk about a topic, we get
Mhm.
so off track that we somehow become on track, but it's off track in that expanded mind.
Okay.
So
Okay.
at least with the last segment, we were like, you know what? We'll stick to one topic, but we'll make it big.
Either
So,
way,
so
what's your question for
I
Nico?
have a very
You have
specific.
a question for me?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
you're the leading man. Don't answer like Kenny did on the last podcast when we asked him a question.
Where I say a singular word?
No, he didn't say a singular word. He just made a joke, and then when I asked him if he was serious or not,
Oh, wait, I heard about this.
he said, "No, I'll pass."
Damn it, little brother.
Okay, so here's my question:
Yeah.
what is the weirdest thing a guest has done in your home, or
Ooh,
what is the weirdest thing that you have done in a guest in someone else's home?
Damn. Oh, no. Oh, no.
That's the answer I like to hear.
I don't know if this is like exactly PG though.
Bro,
We're
have
not
you
a-
heard our podcast?
We're not a PG podcast, my
Yeah, no,
You guys
listen.
definitely are 18 plus. So I used to stay at a friend's house all the time because I ran a professional gaming team for League of Legends. And
Yeah.
2 of the members of the team lived in the house. So I had a scrimmage set up with a team because we were diamond ranked in League and we were starting to build our name. So we had a couple actual close to professional teams wanting to, scrimmage us.
Yeah.
But our support, Jeff, and that's all I'll say. It's Jeff.
That's a very good name.
It is his actual name, and
Is it
I
actually?
should have changed his name.
Hell yeah!
But he
I only know
kinda-
one other person
Look,
the same
he
as
slept
Jeff.
with my ex, so I don't care.
Whoa! Throw him the shade.
the shade is there. So I was waiting on him to come up for support, and he wasn't downstairs where we played. So I went up to his room, and I knocked on the door. He didn't answer, and I thought he was asleep. Right?
Yeah.
Walk in to him and his girlfriend, doing their thing. Right?
Yeah.
What
And-
he's trying to say is they were having sexual intercourse.
Yes, they were definitely having sex, and he was behind her, and he didn't even stop, and he just looked at me and went, "What's up, bud?" and kept going, and I went literally like,
Ye-
we need you at the scrimmage in like 5 minutes. And then I just left and closed the door and went downstairs.
You know, it's kind of weird thing because I was wondering about how what this topic would lead into, and the first thing I thought in my mind is like, how many fucking like sex stories am I
Dude,
about to hear from you
I've
two?
had so many awkward encounters.
Because it's just like, yeah, I have those stories
right.
like in the back of my mind. Like I could literally tell at the time that like me and an ex-girlfriend literally just literally her grandparents were outside in the pool and we were inside in their grandparents' living room on the floor, not even in a fucking on a couch or anything like that, in the floor in front of the TV doing it. Like I could say something like that, but I have a different story that I can tell that's even greater.
Okay.
Like that's my thing. Is like when thinking about this.
I mean, I definitely have greater embarrassing ones that involve me, but I don't want to talk about those.
That's what this podcast is all about, baby.
No.
No, literally, so like I've been sitting on this question for a few days, and I've been like literally sitting. I've been thinking about like what story that I would tell.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that's like super. Like it's one of those things where like it's like have you ever jacked off in your friend's house?
Yes.
Looking at you. Tell
You
me.
definitely have.
Come on.
Fisher, you definitely have.
Come on.
I probably have. I can't remember a specific time.
Tyson and Hayden, I guarantee you.
I haven't stayed the night at their house. Well, I have stayed the night at Tyson's house, but we sleep next to each other. So,
well, I was assuming bathroom, bro. Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
see, my story. No,
oh no.
Oh.
I was a little air mattress caught beside the bed.
Oh, were you talking about Mo?
Mo, don't listen to this podcast. Oh God, believe it. But no. So like, I literally when I was thinking about this topic, was like, I thought that those kind of stories would arise.
Probably.
My story isn't like a weird thing. It was more like a weird find.
yeah.
Okay.
So we were in a little spoiler, a little dart at the board. It was Mo's house.
Ah.
So we were actually filming a video when we both did YouTube back in the day.
right. Right.
What
the
up?
original.
What up? 2011 YouTube.
Yeah, 2011, baby.
But we were filming a bit, and we had just finished filming for the day, and we were like, let's play some fucking I forget what console it was, be it GameCube, PS2. I think it was PS2 actually. We were looking for Sonic Riders, I think,
no.
or Sonic, or,
Yes.
Bad
actually,
game.
or actually Shadow the Hedgehog. One of the
Still
Still
a
a bad
game.
game, but
we,
better
we
than
were we were looking
Riders.
we were looking for a Sonic game, and all of the for whatever reason he stored all of his video games in his mom's room.
Oh, what?
It was weird. Like there was because the only thing he had in his living room area was the Xbox 360, and then all of his other classic consoles he put in his room, but he had no room in his room to store the games for those consoles. So like the only video game he had in his room for the PlayStation 2 was like Spyro 2.
Yeah.
Or no, Spyro, the reboot of Spyro that had like Elijah Wood as the voice of Spyro. That's the singular PS2 game he had in his room. And he was like, oh, all of my other video games are in my mom's room because she has a giant like cabinet or a giant entertainment stand that's literally like a corner cabinet that has a cabinet and then cabinets above the TV.
So it was a space thing.
Yeah, it was literally a space thing.
Okay.
So
it didn't seem like it was leading to a space thing.
Yeah, so we went to his mom's room and we searched and like we found all his other games, but we could not find whatever game we were looking for. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
We searched all over. Of course, we were in like 6th, 7th grade, so like we weren't technically tall enough to like reach the top shelf of the cabinet system that they had in his mom's room. So it could have technically been on the top shelf. But we were like, okay,
Wait, you weren't 6 foot at 6th and 7th grade?
no. The male body doesn't finish growing in height
Hey,
until
man,
like
I
25.
just assumed, I've lived with you for so long at this point, I just assumed you were tall forever.
No, I reached 6'1" in 8th grade. When I entered middle school, I was 5'9".
So my height.
Yeah, so like I went through literally I think from 5th grade to fucking 8th grade I went through a foot long growth spurt.
A foot long?
Yeah,
Why you say long?
cuz I grew that long.
All right.
I'm going Subway standards on this bitch, okay? So literally
$5 foot long.
we were in my buddy's mom's room and we were like, I don't know where else to look. Like we didn't want to look in her nightstand and we were like, it's not in her fucking bathroom. Like where else would these like games be? And we looked over at her bed and we are like, let's check under her bed.
Oh no.
So
And
Oh no.
dude, I'm trying to add suspense. Oh my god. So we go over to his mom's bed and we look under it and of course there's just a bunch of like shoe boxes and a bunch of like random shit. And of course we're just pulling things out one by one or whatever. And like we're not paying attention. We're literally just grabbing under blind, grabbing stuff and pulling. Cuz it's like that's kind of what you do. Like when you're searching under your bed, you're not like fucking ear to the floor, like just, oh, I want this box. I want this box. It's like, it's so crowded under the bed. You're just like,
I get you.
yeah.
I kind of am though, but I might be a little OCD about my own stuff. So
No, I mean, I am too, but you have to understand, like,
at that age.
well, no. You have to know my friend and
Oh,
his
Mo.
family.
Yeah, fair.
So it's like like if I went to Fisher's house at this age, I'm not expecting his under the bed storage to be actual organized.
Yeah.
Because it's just like I know the family, I know how it is.
Yeah.
So we're pulling stuff out randomly, and this is where the weird part happens. And it's not even something that I did or something that Mo did. It's something weird that happened to me as a guest in his home.
Okay.
We reach under, we grab, and we pull. The first thing we find is a police uniform.
No.
But like crappy
oh no.
but crappy like Halloween costume.
Oh no.
I swear if Mo listens to this podcast, he's not gonna remember, but I'm sure he's also blocked this out in his mind so much because
Probably.
because it's like, oh, this is literally his mom that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right
I
now.
can see where this is going, and I guarantee you this man has put it in the
Handcuffs.
fucking
Yeah, no,
subconscious.
next thing we reach under.
Baton.
No,
Oh
next-
no.
next thing we reach under and grab is the handcuffs. And then after
Oh,
that,
fuck.
it was me who did this. I reached under, grabbed another thing, and I pulled it out. And it was a giant pink, like fucking dildo rabbit.
Oh no.
And I just like, we just stared at it on the floor. And of course, at this time, we're like,
Isn't his dad like a pet? I'm not gonna go into that.
Whoa, don't go into personal shit, Fish.
yeah, no. At
Bleep
this
that.
point, you didn't say anything.
Yeah.
You didn't say shit.
At this point, his parents were separated.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But like we pulled out this giant pink dildo, and I just remember like at this
Nice.
at this age we understood what sex was
Okay.
Yeah.
because we were at the age where like puberty had happened.
That means they were watching porn.
Yeah.
He knew what it was.
Case in point, going back to my original story of jacking off.
Ay.
But no, like
He
so
found that dildo in Mo's room later.
look, I'm not saying shit went up my ass, okay?
Oh my god.
But no, we found this, and of course we both looked at it. We looked at each other, and then we were like, "Yeah, we're never discussing this," and we just shoved it back under the bed. And moral of the story: we never got to play Sonic Riders.
You did specifically
um.
because of our friend group.
No, I actually did. Like 3 months later, he left it at his dad's house.
Oh wow.
That's
So,
where it was.
Yeah,
Interesting.
so we went to his dad's house and we played.
And you found it.
Sonic.
And you were like, let's
Well, we didn't
race.
Literally, I went over to his house one day. It was like his birthday, and I went inside, and he was in his room, and he was fucking playing Sonic Riders, and I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever."
Chili dogs. And
Yeah,
let's
fucking chili
race.
So yeah, no, my weird guest experience was not a guest experience that I did, and or the person who invited me in was. It's just something
shit.
really fucking weird we found in their house.
I
Okay.
did
And
And it's not
actually-
even weird.
I just remembered I punched my childhood best friend in the nose and made him bleed.
Oh no, we all had that story.
No, because we were really into MMA and we were doing jujitsu, and he was way better than I was, and I was angry as hell, like you guys know, because you knew me before I went to therapy, and I ended up just punching him in the fucking nose.
Oh, see, I have a similar story where I had a birthday party and it was like 2 a.m. and they wouldn't stop like making little like quips and jokes.
Oh no!
Like they were making like little like bird noises at each end of the room, like communicating with each other. Well, I literally the day of my birthday I went through a breakup, so I was already pissed when my birthday happened. So like I went up to my friend and like I literally like punched him in the ribs like 5 times because he would not shut up. And I picked him up and I set him on the stairs. And literally a rumor started in my school like the next day because he didn't come to school. And they thought I had literally broke his ribs.
Oh, you like broke?
Yeah, they literally thought I had hurt him so bad that
That's
like
funny.
I had broken him.
Damn,
And like that.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And it was really weird because I was known as such a pacifist back in the day. And then fucking.
And then you passed a few fists, bro.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, no, it
baby.
was really fucking weird because like that rumor started and I was like, yeah, I got mad, but like I didn't break this man's ribs. And then he came back the next day and he was like, yeah, I had a head cold. And I was like, see guys, it wasn't me. And they're like, you still
they didn't believe you.
They were like, you still punched him in the ribs, didn't you? And I was like, yeah, but that's
Yeah.
what happens when you fucking make a fucking Bluebird song at 2 a.m. in the morning and you're just whistling like the dwarf song from Snow White.
Hi
Like,
ho, hi ho.
like, yeah, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
Well,
Yeah, tell us about your weird
Fish.
story. I'm ready to hear what you got.
okay. So mine's not really at my place or at a guest place, but at a hotel room.
Okay.
Okay.
I was at a convention
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
and I had a group of friends that did an Avengers panel. And as you guys know, I cosplay Spider-Man, and my part of the panel was
No, you cosplay Spider-Man.
but my part of the panel was to go up and pester them,
Mm-hmm.
you know, as back then as Spider-Man would.
as Peter, yeah.
And so they had like a little after party, and I go up there.
Oh no.
So it's Spider-Man, Nick Fury, Tony Stark, and Hawkeye, and I think the Falcon all in a room,
I can understand
Sitting-
all of them except for Hawkeye.
and they're all
Dude, Hawkeye's a badass. I don't get why people shit on him.
No,
And they-
I only shit on him because of his depiction of the Marvel universe.
Fair enough. I liked him as Ronin.
He's a
That's about it.
he's a cool ass character, but he is not a character.
Yeah.
And
You're
that's
just
totally right.
Clint.
yeah, he's
totally
just
right.
Clint.
He's Clint.
But we were all sitting there drinking, having a good time, and Tony Stark walks up to me and goes and lifts up his shirt to show me this tattoo and explains to me this is like something on like a disc that's been sent out to space, so in case aliens find it,
Oh,
they
yeah,
can read
yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's like this weird cross pattern, but he didn't explain that to me at the time. What he did was he raised the shirt up, and because it's on his ribs, and he goes, "You see this? If I was ever to get abducted by aliens, they would be able to find me, or see this and take me right back to where I need to go."
So he was high.
He was something. It's Tony Stark.
Oh, it was Tony Stark that did this?
Yes, it was Tony
Amazing.
Stark.
Absolutely amazing. Dude, I don't even want to get into con stories. I have so
Yeah, no,
many
I was
con
literally about to say, I'm
stories.
like, that's literally the weirdest thing you got.
Dude, con stories
Well,
are
also,
their
I have
own
another one.
podcast.
Another one that's also
yeah,
a con
I
story.
just feel like that's kind of almost like normal. If you're at a party, it's like
Dude.
something like that's going to happen.
Well, here's something less
I have
normal. We
so
were just
many
sitting there.
crazy con shit that's happened.
We were sitting there completely sober, and good old Eli.
Oh God.
You don't understand. Every podcast we mention his
We
name.
mentioned
Well,
Eli.
because
Well, it
Eli's
makes
my
sense.
friend, and we talk about weird shit.
Eli's
and
my friend too. How about you not discriminate
Hey, he's
like
my
that?
friend too, and I love him.
He's all of
Whoa.
our friends, but been with them through some weird shit.
Well, of
and-
course, it's Eli.
Eli is the
Eli-
epitome of weird
Stone
shit.
Cold-
Literally.
Eli stone cold sober.
I thought you were
We're
going to say
all-
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
We're all just sitting there, getting ready for bed
Mhm.
late at night, and he like walks out of the bathroom.
Whips out his dick.
No,
Oh.
he's already naked.
Oh shit.
He
Yeah,
walks
that's where
out
I thought this
naked,
was going.
and he goes out to the balcony, and he just perches, and he just leans on the balcony and looks at the view of the river, completely naked.
What con?
You know what's kind of
which
weird?
con was this?
Is the,
It's the one we always go to in Kentucky.
Oh, okay. I know
is
exactly.
literally
which one.
the last episode we recorded. The story he told was of Eli
At that convention doing something.
pissing off the side of a cliff face into a river,
Amazing.
and
At
it's
that
kind of
convention.
funny
That makes total sense.
his story about a weird thing a guest has done is Eli perching
Looking-
naked on a balcony,
Looking
to
over
looking over a river
the same one actually.
naked.
Interesting.
Okay, I take this all
really
back.
Seems like he's done it
it's
a
really
few
poetic.
times.
As to add a little bow on the end of this podcast, I absolutely refuse to believe that that's the weirdest thing Fisher's ever seen happen.
I
I-
guarantee you that's not.
I
the-
absolutely like we gave some very in-depth personal stories, and
Yeah.
Fisher's story is I saw one of my
Look.
friends pose naked on a balcony.
Actually, wait.
I can one up it.
How-
I saw one
I-
of my best friends perched on a refrigerator screeching at me in the dark. So we've definitely seen
Look.
darker things.
Okay, so listen.
Yeah, what's up?
Going back to shit when we were kids. I do have one story.
Yeah,
Okay.
This
Do
is
it.
my nugget.
tell me the truth
Say
one more
it.
time, and I hope I,
can't,
believe
I don't
you.
know if I've said it on the podcast.
Give
or
us
not,
your
but
I
I know.
doubt it.
No.
You haven't talked about your childhood.
Give
So-
us your magnum opus.
I want to see
Yeah,
the
this is-
darkness
this is-
inside you.
This is
your
probably
magnum
one of my,
opus.
This is my craziest story now that you guys have reminded me of
Okay.
it.
Oh,
I am silent.
reminded.
No, I'm
No,
silent.
no, I did forget about this. So I was at this birthday party.
Uh-huh.
It was these twins that I used to be friends with way back when I was
Wait, I
real
think I've
little.
heard this story.
I know I've told it. And, like you, we were around probably 6th grade, starting to get into puberty. And
Wait, you had puberty at 6th grade?
6th, 7th grade. Um,
5th?
Damn, lucky you.
But
don't look at me,
I was
guys.
seventh
either
of
way,
eight.
I started growing 2 inches a year in 5th grade, so I could only assume
Fuck.
that was puberty.
either
Damn.
way, one of the kids at the party goes, "Hey guys, 3 a.m. Girls Gone Wild comes on."
Oh fuck.
Dude, I have a similar fucking story. It was at the same
no.
birthday. It was at the same birthday party that I punched a guy in the ribs.
Oh no.
Literally, we had a guy who had never watched
No.
porn, and we were like, "Here, have an literally, it was an iPod Touch, and we just pressed play and made him put in earphones, and all we heard was
Wait, you told me the story.
we just turned up the volume, and it was just sound blasted porn.
You can literally hear the porn through the headphones.
Yeah, and he literally, my best friend just went wide eye and just like mouth agape. He just could not believe that this part of a man could enter this part of a woman.
Sex
But-
is weird, bro. Sex is weird.
We just had the normal party, cake, presents, everything.
And then at 3 a.m. we had a porn party. It was completely normal.
I remember playing Guitar Hero, and then
He was
parents,
learning- He was learning how to really strum
Look.
those fingers.
listen, let me build up to it.
Dude, I'm letting you build up by giving distractions. What's up?
Oh my god.
Parents go to bed, and
Yikes.
3 a.m. strikes,
That's when the fun begins.
and everyone fucking sits around the TV.
And you play spin the bottle.
No, everyone
No.
7
sits,
minutes in heaven.
everyone sits around the TV, comes on, and everyone's jaw drops, and they're staring at the TV. Now there's one kid sitting on the bed behind us,
Okay.
and
Oh,
as
wait.
we're
Oh,
watching,
I remember
I
that-
know this story.
I remember the
you
story.
remember
now.
this story now.
I remember the story.
He out of nowhere we hear, "I can't take this anymore."
Oh
And he
no.
And in front of like 6 or 7 other guys, where I guess fucking 13-year-olds, this other 13-year-old pulls down his pants and starts jacking off in front of all of us. And everyone's like, "What the fuck?" And we just turn off the TV and leave the room.
This is the quality content I was really hoping to hear on this section of the podcast.
There you go.
MindMesh.
This is what I wanted to hear. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the MindMesh podcast.
Oh
I hope
my
you join
God.
us for all podcast platforms and on YouTube 2 days later to enjoy next week on another thrilling and endearing episode of MindMesh.
Why the fuck am I here?
Bro, I ask that question every day,
Fair
but
enough.
also every other day you're not. So
Yeah,
that
I don't
kinda-
live
that-
here no more.
That's a weird proposition. But anyways, my name's Chayton.
I'm Fish,
You
and
didn't even have to
Oh.
say your name. Actually,
Wait,
no.
do
Now
I
that,
outro?
now that I think about it, the last time, like the few times that we've recorded this, or the past few times, you haven't done your natural burp. You have not done your loud little spiky burp that you always do into the mic.
Yeah, I know.
You need to peek with that burp.
It's kind of weird. I'm so used to
Come on,
it.
build up that air, Fisher. Come on.
No, please
I can't
don't.
do it right now. I'll throw up on the mic. I don't want
Oh
to do
my
that.
god! But anyways, thank you, Nico, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye, guys.
See ya.
Hit that stop button, bro.